So let the sun shine in, face it with a grin. Smilers never lose and frowners never win. So let the sun shine in. It's Rowie in my office singing happy songs, being a happy lady because I choose to be. And I've got a great question because we use this statement a fair bit. Everything happens for a reason. Have you ever used it? And it's a question that I've been asking for a very long time. I think primary school I started asking this question and getting in trouble for it. Why did that happen? And often the answer is everything happens for a reason. So I always asked, what's the reason? And sometimes that would stump the adults in my life because they didn't really know what the reason was. Now, I was brought up in a religious environment and it had a lot to do with that happened because it's God's will. And this is not a conversation about religious beliefs. It's a conversation or a question for all of us to ask. Who are we? Who have we become? And have we become who we are because of what's happened to us? And how much of what has happened to us have we had control over? How much has happened and we've responded or reacted? And how will it affect our future? And the reason this is a really important question for me is as an exercise professional and as a leader and as an educator and as someone who is responsible for helping people achieve their goals, and I'll rephrase that because I can't be responsible for you achieving your goals. We're all responsible for our own goals. But I have chosen a career path. I have chosen, it's more like a purpose for me, to be able to help people have a career that they love and not a job that they don't. And often people will ask me what makes a great exercise professional or what makes a great business person or how do you know that you can be successful? And the reverse of that, a lot of people say to me, particularly with exercise as a profession, I'm too old, or this is a young person's profession, or I can't do this because it's too late for me. And of course, my answer to that is always very positive and very important for me that we have more mature people in the exercise profession, because what has happened to you has made you who you are. And there's an interesting quote, if it hasn't killed you, it's made you stronger. Now that's again technically not true because some people have not died but they haven't gotten stronger. Some people, as we know, things happen to them and they get weaker. But obviously, if you have become a tough, strong, wise, logical, common sense, optimistic solution finder because of what's happened to you, is it possible that everything that's happened to you will help you to help other people who may go through the same thing that you do, or just people that go through tough times? And I think that's really special because if you've had tough times in your life, you obviously can't change it, can you? You can't fix what's happened in the past. And it doesn't matter how bad your past has been, there's nothing about that we can change. But if your past, everything that's happened to you, has made you a tougher, stronger, wiser, happier, more logical person who can look at something differently because you've got life experience, could that now make you the very best, and I'm going to use exercise professional, the very best business person because you've got life experience? So this expression that we have, everything happens for a reason, maybe we've got to create our own reason. Would that be a fair question, or would that be a fair philosophy? I can't change what's happened, so let me create the reason for why it happened and use that reason to drive me forward. And I think that's a really special thing to consider. Like you, every day, people would be sharing with you, as they do with me, my life. This is what happened in my past, this is what happened yesterday, this is what happened today. All of those things that happened, if they happened for a reason or not, could we create the reason? And I'll go back a little bit and back to that question of if it happens for a reason, who creates the reason? And if you have a Christian belief, or if you have a religious belief or a spiritual belief, there might be a guiding force for that. One of the challenges I've got with that, and this is, religion is not my area of expertise, so I'm being very careful. But I was brought up in a very strict environment. And one of the things that I took from my Christian religious experience is that the thing that differentiates me from animals, that differentiates humans from animals, is our freedom to choose. Animals have to follow their instinct. They have to, they just do what animals do. That's something inside their headspace that one would suggest animals don't have any control over. But humans, and depending on what you believe in, we've been given freedom of choice. So one of the questions I always asked and again got into trouble for was, if everything happens for a reason, does that mean that our life is dictated or our life has been designed by somebody else, or we have no control over what happens? And I always question that, because I think that whatever divine intervention or divine being or whatever you believe in, whoever created us, that person or that thing or that whatever it is, has given us the ability to choose, to think for ourselves. So we are given a situation and we get to decide whether we're going to accept it or not accept it, whether we're going to become weak from it or become strong from it, whether we're going to treat it with bitterness and being twisted and angry and upset and anxious about it, or we can choose to grow from it. So that's why I'm going to ask that question again. If everything happens for a reason, if you want to create the reason, could that then give you a really strong, solid foundation for going into the future? So I can't change what's happened. I look at it, and even if it was horrible, stressful, hurt me, injured me, made me angry, made me sick, did terrible things to my life, could I look at that situation and say, okay, that happened to me for a reason. This is the reason. It's going to make me tougher, stronger, wiser, better, so that I can help other people go through this. And that's something that every time, for example, I get injured, and because I've been exercising all of my life, because I did some stupid exercises when I was younger, I've got some busted joints, my body's broken, and I've had some injuries just from accident where I've torn things or broken things or cut things or hurt things. And I can't stop that happened. I can't change that happened. One of the things I always do when I'm going through an injury or a sickness, and I don't get sick very often, but definitely injury, I always say to myself, this thing that's happening to me is happening to me for a reason. I'm going to create the reason. I'm going to get stronger from this injury. I'm going to get wiser from this injury. I'm going to get tougher from this injury, and then I'll be able to help other people who may go through the same thing. There's an interesting quote, and you might hear this, I hear it on a regular basis. You don't have to have cancer to cure cancer, or you don't have to have been through a divorce to understand how painful divorce is, or you don't have to have had children to understand how to bring up children. They're three very controversial things I just said. And is it possible that somebody who has been through cancer and survived it and become stronger and tougher because of it, it could help somebody go through that process? Is it possible that if you've had children and you've become a great parent, or you've got children that are happy and well adjusted and healthy, fit and strong, that you could help other people be better parents too? Is it possible that if you've been through a divorce and you've become a tougher, stronger, wiser person because of the mistakes that you made in a relationship, or you got out of a relationship that wasn't making you happy, that you might be able to help other people go through that same thing? And I just use those as an example because I don't have any children, and I find it very difficult to talk about parenting because I don't understand being a parent. And I can come up with all sorts of things to say, look, I've had thousands of students and I've looked after other people's children and I spend a lot of time with children, but I've never produced a child. So I really don't, I can't say I understand. If you've been through a painful experience, is it possible that you have a better understanding so that you can help other people go through it? And could that be the reason that you create? Everything happens for a reason. The reason is it's going to make me tougher, stronger, wiser, better. And I love saying that because what's the alternative? If a terrible thing happens to us and we choose for it to make us weak and bitter and twisted and angry and anxious and depressed, is that a choice? Could we decide? And I, again, don't have an answer for that because we're all unique individual people. But it's something that I'm very conscious of because shit happens. Plenty of crappy stuff has happened to me. And I've made a very significant and personal and obvious choice for me is I'm not going to allow that to pull me down, stop me, make me weak, make me angry, I'm going to learn from it and grow from it and become better because of it. And again, is that a choice? So whatever happens to us, could the reason be that we now get to make that decision? And what will our life be like if we choose positively versus what will our life be like if we choose negatively? Now, an interesting side note, though, it's something I learned a very long time ago about communication and being able to help people through tough times. One of the most disrespectful statements, and I was taught this by a neuroscientist who was actually studying people's responses to sympathy and empathy. And they shared with me almost aggressively, Rowie, you should never say, I understand. And I took that on board as very good advice because the explanation made so much sense to me. First of all, if somebody's been through something, how would you be able to understand it? Even if you've been through the same thing, they are different people to you, different age, it could be different gender, different life experience, different core values, different everything. For me to say I understand how you feel, again, suggested by the neuroscience, is that I'm being disrespectful of your feelings because I don't understand how you feel. But I want to. And that was the beautiful side note of communication that I've taken on board. I don't understand how you feel. I don't understand what you've been through, but I want to. And I use this example because this is where it hit me really hard and why this conversation came up. I was doing an initial chat with one of my personal exercise clients, and I was a personal exercise coach at the time. And this beautiful woman, unfortunately, her mother had just died of Alzheimer's. And I made the terrible mistake. I do always share, I don't like to make the same mistake twice, and I learnt from this mistake. I said to her, I completely understand how you feel because my father died of Alzheimer's. And she nailed me, like she literally yelled at me. She said, how the bloody hell do you understand? The relationship between a mother and a daughter is completely different to the relationship between a daughter and a father. You don't understand how I feel. And I was so grateful for her feed forward, other people would call it feedback, because it really made me think, and that's why I had that conversation with the neuroscientist, that I had no right to say that. If somebody's sharing their challenge with you, if somebody's going through something tough, if somebody needs help, and I would say empathy rather than sympathy, because often sympathy, it takes us backwards, and I get that's a controversial thing to say, but if you want to give somebody, if you want to be strong for somebody, how about this? I don't understand what you're going through, but because I care about you, or because I love you, or because I really want to help, please explain to me what you're going through. And you could add, I've got a general idea of what you might be going through, because I would have said my father died of Alzheimer's, but the relationship between a mother and a daughter is completely different to a daughter and a father, so I don't understand what you're going through. I've been divorced, but I would never say to somebody who tells me that they're going through a divorce, I completely understand how you feel, because all divorces are different. As I shared, I would never say to somebody, I understand exactly how you feel if they're a parent, because I've never been a parent. So if we talk about everything happens for a reason, whatever happens, let's learn from it, grow from it, get stronger and better because of it. Could that be a good idea? If we do get stronger and better and wiser because of everything that happens to us, is it possible then that reason is that we could help other people who are going through the same thing? But let's make sure that we don't be disrespectful of what they're going through. We just share that beautiful statement, I don't understand what you're going through, but I really want to because I care. I might have a slight understanding because I've been through the same thing, but I'm sure that your situation's completely different. So share with me what you're going through. Please talk to me. And because you've been through the experience, is it possible that you could now even just say to yourself, now I know why I had to go through that tough time, because here I've got somebody in front of me going through the tough time and I might be able to help them in some way, even if it's just to listen. And I know this is particularly a female thing that we like to share. We want to tell, we want to have somebody listen to us. And I always ask this question, When was the last time that somebody listened to you without interrupting, without giving advice, without telling you what to do, without trying to fix the situation? Somebody just genuinely listened. They leant forward, maintained eye contact, open body language, and actively listened. And that, for example, the experience with the lady that yelled at me, I'm really grateful for that experience. Everything happens for a reason. Because that happened to me, I had to learn fast that that was not the way to handle that situation. And that's now given me some better communication tools to be able to listen. And that's, I think, the difference between sympathy and empathy. And there's lots of different definitions, but I don't think people want us to feel sorry for them. Maybe they do, but is it possible that it's I want somebody to care about me if I'm going through something? Not feel sorry for me, not try and fix it, but just genuinely care that I've been through something. And I think there's many times in our lives where it doesn't matter what we've been through, and you share it with somebody and it could be a horrible, tough thing, and it seems like people don't really care. And I'm not sure that they do. We've all got lots of things going on in our life. What I do know is that if you have people in your life who you care about and you want them to know that you care, is it possible that everything that you've ever been through, which has made you tougher and stronger and wiser and better, will help you to be able to communicate more effectively, to be a more genuine, caring person for them? And that's something that I'm learning every day. For me, communication is an ongoing learning skill. I screw it up all the time. I'll share again, the thing that I really like to be proud of myself of is if I make a mistake, well, we learn from that mistake and don't make the same mistake again. So whatever it is that you believe in, that things happen for whatever reason, and even if you've got to create the reason because you don't understand, could it be just a special way to live your life, to be able to say, I don't know why that happened, I don't have a reason for why that happened, but I can't change that it happened, so I'm going to create my own reason, which is I'm going to learn from this experience, I'm going to grow from it, I'm going to become stronger and tougher and wiser. And often people share with me, sometimes aggressively, Rowie, you can't be happy all the time. Well, I'm going to sing that beautiful song again. So let the sun shine in, face it with a grin. Smilers never lose and frowners never win. So let the sun shine. It's my happy song for today. First of all, I choose to sing happy songs regardless of what's going on. I choose to sing happy songs regardless of the weather. I choose to respond to a situation rather than react to it. And I choose to create my own reasons for why things happen. I'm not going to say that happened because God made it happen, or the devil made it happen, or the government made it happen, or that was a terrible thing that happened. All I'm going to do is say, okay, that happened. Now, how can I learn and grow from it? So for whatever reason that happened, I'm going to create the reason, which is I'm going to learn and grow. And because I learn and grow every day, I have this very unique headspace that says, I love my life every day. And that's why Romax exists, so that you can live your life to the max. May you be letting the sun shine in, face it with a grin. Smilers never lose and frowners never win, so let the sun shine in. Romax, live your life to the max.